You know, when I was growing up, my parents never talked money to me, really. Um, I didn't know much about their financial situation till I got older, and Dad started talking a little bit to me about how they were broke and didn't have a lot of money, and I mean they got by. I didn't really go without anything, and um, let's just say I always struggled to get by, and with my children, my older two didn't know that we were going through losing the farm. They were my two stepkids, or are my two stepkids, and we kept a lot of that from them. And I really regret it now because, my son, my stepson, I beat him like he's my own. But he's struggling with some stuff, and it's not a bad thing. Like, I mean, it is a bad thing, but it's not like, a lot of people think that they feel like a failure and they feel like they should be doing more for their family and they feel like they shouldn't be in a position, to be where they need their mommy and daddy to, help them out. And, um, you know, whether you help them monetarily or you help them get out of situations that they've gotten themselves into, because as kids, like, we don't listen, right? Like, I didn't listen to my parents. They were just old and dumb. Like, I knew everything. We all go through that phase, and with my daughters, my two daughters, they're like, we hid a lot of stuff from them too until recently. And I started talking about money and starting talking about changing our life monetarily, and like starting businesses and finally doing things that I've wanted to do for several years, and I've been talked out of it because, like, my track record wasn't proven. So, like, we started strawberries here, and I got laid off, and that's when we almost lost the farm because I fell on my face and didn't have the money, but we also didn't have a plan. So it's important to involve your kids in your financial decisions. And my youngest, just a few years ago, I was talking about money every day, and I still continue to do that. And she said I think for her birthday, she wanted one day that I didn't talk about money, or we didn't talk about money. And because she'd never heard us talk like that, and she was just so sick of hearing about money. But I sat her down and I explained everything to her, and now she's learned so much, and she listens to so much. Both of my daughters listen to everything that I tell them, and I don't tell them what to do. I just tell them what I'm doing. I tell them that I'm investing in silver, a little bit of gold, like different cryptocurrencies that I'm involved in, and how to do it safely. And I've gotten them to start doing that because that's the way of the future, man. You can hate it or love it, embrace it or don't. I don't care, but like, I've instilled in them to invest in themselves, and they're doing that. They're making their own decisions. They're watching me and their mother make these decisions together. They watch us have these little meetings on the weekends about where we're going to put our money, where we're going to tithe, who we need to give to, like what things should we pay off, what things should we pay down, like what, where's the best position for our money to work for us. And they're involved in all that. And my older the two stepkids were not involved in that. And now, times are tough, man. Times are tough. Whether you want to believe it or not, like, it depends on where you are, too. Like, if, you're in your own little world, and which is not a bad thing. I'm not saying any of that to be bad, but, like, some people, it won't affect some people. Like, they're crushing it, they got businesses, and they're doing things, and this collapse will not affect them. Like, it'll just blow on by, and like, we didn't know. And others, it's affecting a lot of other people. And my older two are just struggling, man, because they didn't listen to a few things we said, and because you know everything. And I'm not knocking them at all. I'm not one bit. I've been there. I've walked in those shoes. But that doesn't mean that you're a failure. It just means that you thought things would be good forever, and they're not. There's cycles, and there's real estate cycles, and they're frustrated because they can't get housing because the market's up, and they're trying to get housing, and they can't swing it because a few years ago the market, the bubble got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's gonna pop. Like, I'm already seeing how prices for homes dropping drastically, and they're sitting on market longer. Days on market are extending a lot, and those times will come around. It's all cycles, man. It's all cycles. They might not, housing prices won't go down, to where they were, I don't think, but plus you add insurance on top of that, which is gone up exponentially, and it depends on where you are in the country too. There's some places that people say, oh, it's not affecting my housing market, the houses are still flying off the shelf. Okay, that day will come for you, maybe not to the point that they are in other country or in other states, but like, I believe it's going to come. And I'm fairly new to this economic game, but I've lived through some cycles, and now I remember, just like I said on the last video, I remember waiting in line as a kid for gas back in the 80s. And people were putting them in baggies, putting gas in baggies just to have enough gas and to get through and get gas while it lasted. And I remember that. And obviously I remember almost losing the farm because I thought my overtime was going to be there forever. Like, we took a mortgage on my overtime. And I'm like, well, I've been working overtime for 3 years, they keep telling me as much as I want. And then, poof, it's gone. My overtime is gone. I'm cut to 32 hours and maybe layoffs. And then I got laid off. And then I went from having a crap ton of money to nothing. Like, because you think it's going to go on forever, and you think the older people don't know what they're talking about. And when you learn that the older people do know a little something, and you start to learn from them, it's life changing. That brings me back to teach your kids what you're doing financially, good or bad. Like, let them see some of the bad. You know, there were several years that my wife and I didn't do gifts for each other for Christmas, and the kids didn't know that until now. They know that now, but like, my kids, they all had presents. My wife and I didn't give each other nothing. A kiss on the cheek, and maybe some stuff in our stockings. Like, you know, we filled up our stockings, you know, and our Santa did, and you know, it's, they need to know, man. Like, they need to be taught at an early age. Like, it don't matter how old they are. Like, my grandkids, they will start learning this stuff. Like, when they're over here, old Pawpaw is going to be talking to them about stuff, and they will know. They will know. That will be a norm now. You know, a new normal for this house. Because I was broke. We almost lost everything, and I don't want to do it again. And I think kids are not going to get this education in school. There's a lot of things that they don't want the kids to know. So with that, I went on too long, but it's important for your kids to be part of your financial life. Like, don't shelter them from this, you know, and also let them make decisions. Like, my youngest has been out here helping me put up the wreath and the lights, and like do stuff in the barn, and you know, build things. And you know, is it the way I would do it? No, it's not. But she's learning. She's, you know, they're both learning from me. And do I do everything the right way? Absolutely not. Do I get it done? Absolutely. So, with that, hope that helps somebody. Love on your kids. Be thankful for what you have. And, you know, don't let your praying knees get lazy. Keep grinding. You'll get there. We'll all get through this. Just learn, invest in yourself, and teach your kids. With that, I love you all. I will see you on the next one. Get to know a farmer.